Video games are art. They come in many shapes and forms, and the best ones make us take a look at who we are on the inside. Talented devs spend countless hours pouring their hearts and souls into their work so that we as fans can happily consume what they've created. But like with any art, there are people who just aren't fans of certain styles. You're bad at this. And while it's absolutely fair to give criticisms to games, that's the only way they're going to get better, by openly and honestly communicating what we like and what we don't like, some people tend to confuse taste with quality. You see, quality is the degree of excellence, a quantifiable metric of how well something is produced. Does this do what it set out to do, and how well did it accomplish these goals? Quality in video games can include things like, does this game perform well? Does it run smoothly on the devices it was designed for? Is the artistic style consistent across the entire game, or does it look like it was hobbled together with some hot glue and a prayer? How about the story? Is it cohesive? Does it make sense from start to finish? Does the game have meaningful progression? Is the difficulty balanced for the genre of game? Things that you can either say, yes, it objectively did these things, or no, they failed in every sense of the word to accomplish their goal. Taste, on the other hand, all comes down to personal preference. Do I like the controls of this game and how it plays? Can I stand to look at this art style for the next 10 to 50 hours, or is it a visual assault on my eyes? Do I like the story beats and the characters? Do I resonate with what the game is trying to say? Is the game easy enough or difficult enough for me to remain engaged? Where quality is the objectivity, taste is the subjectivity. But more and more, I'm seeing people trying to blur the line and attempt to find objectivity in subjective categories. Basically, what we're seeing is more and more people calling games with engaging gameplay and beautiful stories doo-doo dog poop because I didn't like the way it looked, or some other asinine reason. And it's led to a strange all-or-nothing approach with how people rate games. Instead of a game being great with flaws, or needs improvement, or anywhere else in between, people rate a game one of two ways. It's either a peak gaming experience, a 10 out of 10 and a pinnacle of its genre, or it's the worst thing I've ever seen, and if you or anybody you like plays this, then you and your whole family deserve the Romanov treatment. Gone are the days where a game can just be okay without getting dragged through the mud, and it's created an environment where only the best can grow and thrive, but no one seems to be able to decide on what the best truly is. So what we're left with is a barren wasteland of despair and disappointment. We as a collective need to learn the difference between quality and taste if we're ever going to have honest conversations about any game. Let's look at a recent example with Halo Campaign Evolved. This game's received mixed reviews for a lot of different reasons. Let's take a look at some. Number 1. This game has bugs. And no, we're not talking about these bugs. I mean things like technical issues that make the game difficult to run. My friends and I have been playing through Legendary difficulty, and though we hardly ever have problems, we have definitely seen some frame rate crashes and minor connection issues. This would go in the objective side, because it's not functioning the way that it was intended. It thankfully doesn't doom the game outright. It can and has been patched since release, so it doesn't mean the game's bad overall. It just had a bit of a rough launch. Number 2, the art direction is bad and the game looks bad. This is a remake of a game that came out 25 years ago. Many people don't like the style change because it's lost its charm and strays from the original intended artistic style of Halo. Brother, I hate to break it to you, but this may be the truest form of Halo we've ever seen. They wanted a realistic art style for this game back in 2001, and back in 2001, this was the best that they could do. This is the best they can do now. The basic designs are the same, just upgraded. This would go in the subjective category because they accomplished what they set out to do, but some people don't like the way that it looks. I'm sorry the technology has improved, I guess. Then there are much more nuanced complaints, like potential changes to the lore in this game versus the older games, how the success of this game may lead to soulish cash grabs in the form of remakes in the future, or how this game wasn't designed for old fans but exclusively to bring in new ones, which it very much succeeded. But the entire conversation stops if all you want to say is, Campaign Evolved is bad because Johnson's old voice actor retired and I don't like the new one. I wish I was joking. I've literally heard that complaint numerous times. Anybody whose biggest complaint is that, give me those. You're cut off. The game runs well, but not perfectly, revamping what made the original work, adding some new things, bringing in more fans, and it's just a genuinely fun time to play. To me, that's a good game. There are flaws to be sure, but more often than not, I'm seeing a lot of undue hate instead of actual criticism from older Halo fans, which is strange considering they're one of the most level-headed and understanding fan bases out there. Another game I feel gets far too much hate is Insomniac's Spider-Man 2. It improved on almost every aspect from the original. The player progression felt more rewarding, the combat was enhanced slightly, the traversal was enhanced tremendously. It looks great, it plays great, everything about it is amazing. The story isn't absolutely abysmal. This is my favorite on-screen version of Kraven we've ever received. The Black Suit Spider-Man storyline balances the aggression that Peter feels and his struggle to achieve a healthy work-life balance. But yeah, the Harry Venom storyline definitely feels a bit rushed. Between all the stuff happening with Mr. Negative and introducing a bunch of different versions of the symbiote, it feels like they had a bunch of cool ideas for the ending and then just decided, what the heck, and they tossed them all into a rushed, underwhelming salad for us to sadly consume. And while it sucks they didn't really stick the landing as well as they could have, revisionist historians online will have you believing that this whole game sucks, it's always sucked, and absolutely nothing about it is redeemable. People ran with this one line of dialogue from an optional mission and said the entire game sounded like this.
Oh, Maybe you should call yourself the Great Electric Spider.
To be fair, that really is rough. Oh, it sounds worse every time I hear it. But there are so many aspects about this game that really shine. Peter and Miles' relationship is great here. There's really emotional side missions like with Howard and his pigeons. The opening is cinematic, flying through the city to fight Sandman. It's a great introduction to the new mechanics, and the soundtrack slaps harder than I smack my wife's unprotected behind in those shorts she knows that I like. But, you know, this endgame suit is pretty ugly, so the whole game is actually hot buttery buns. I'm all about calling out nonsense when I see it, and Spider-Man 2 is not a perfect game, but it's received a lot of unfair hatred for its story, even though its gameplay is still just as good at the beginning as it was at the end. There's another breed of hate that I see for video games as well, and it's just coming from people who hate for the love of the game. Expedition 33 was my favorite game of last year. I don't typically like JRPGs or turn-based games, but everything about this game clicked for me. The characters, the setting, the gameplay, the story, I couldn't get enough. I can admit a lot of my love for this game is subjective, but the objective qualities, such as the coherent story, the functioning gameplay, no major bugs, combined with subjective bits like people's love for the characters and the realistic approach they have to processing grief, let's just say there's a reason that this won Game of the Year. But whenever something becomes so beloved, so respected, there's people out there who just can't help but have to be contrarian. Suddenly we have mooks out here saying that the game actually sucks, it's so uninspired, everything looks gross. And then, the dreaded AI scandal. The haters went wild. Extra breaking news, the whole game is AI and you fell for it. People started sounding like those homeless men on the streets with a billboard shouting that doomsday is nigh, and they were the only ones who ever saw it, and everyone was a fool for liking something so soulless. Yeah, so the whole AI thing was a single texture pack used at the beginning of production to fill in a space where they were going to eventually put in their official artwork. It happened in like 2022 before the major environmental and stolen artwork issues came to light about generative AI, and they didn't even like it, so they removed it years before the actual game's release. But one asset in a single post on a single level in the size of downtown Paris was left in, and suddenly the game's being lambasted for using it in the first place, robbing artists of the opportunity for work. They quickly patched it with the human-made artwork that was intended to be there on release, but the damage was already done. The shark smelled blood, they latched on, and they wouldn't let it go. Yo, the bid's over. Could you get off? Oh, sorry, man. You're good. The worst part about it was the whole situation stemmed from people who knew their problems with the game were subjective. They weren't in the majority of people who actually liked the game, and they had to find an excuse to drag this game in any way they could. And right there is the core of the problem. Subjective taste isn't a bad thing. Everyone has their preferences for what kind of games they like and they don't, and no one should be saying otherwise. Heck, you probably disagreed with me on every single one of these takes of these games, but that's okay. It's just my opinion. The problem becomes an issue of identity. People see things that they dislike and they see other people enjoying something that they don't like, but instead of treating it like a difference in preference, people take it like a personal attack on their character. No one with half a working brain cell is saying you're subhuman for not liking a game that they love. And if they are, why are you giving them the time of day? Why are you giving strangers on the internet the satisfaction of getting under your skin? Sticks and stones, man. People are different. They come in all shapes and styles, just like games. There will never be a video game that is universally beloved apart from Knack 2. And we need to be okay to say, the game just isn't for me. But this is a two-way street. We have to accept that sometimes our favorite games just won't be seen in the same light by somebody with different life experiences. If we can learn to distinguish between quality and taste and just be a little bit nicer to each other, it would make the entire gaming space so much better. Can we all agree on that? I guess not.